absolute codswallop. That's pants. And you're a conspiracy theorist. Go to hell.
Wow. Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We are a couple of digital nomads who have been wandering around this world for 3 years, and we make videos about travel and culture.
If either of those topics interests you, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell icon so that you can get notified every time we release a new video.
Today we are bringing you part 2 of our series on things that British people say that Americans don't. You can watch part 1 by clicking this link right here. As with part 1, we are trying to avoid idioms and slang and instead focus on just genuine English expressions which British people use in a very different way than we do in the States. And so we're gonna be giving you how the Brits use an expression along with how us Yanks use an expression.
But before we get into it, if you want to help us make better videos more often, make sure that you head on over to our Patreon and join us over there. Link in the description below.
And without further ado, let's get into it. These are things British people say that Americans don't.
To have a spot of something. You might say, do you fancy a spot of lunch? Or do you fancy a spot of tea right about now? From what I understand, to have a spot of something means to either have it quickly or have it in a small amount.
I do enjoy a spot of coffee in the afternoon. In the United States, we use the word spot to just mean an area. So you could have a spotted dog, you know, has spots on him.
Dalmatian.
Dalmatians are beautiful. Or you could have a spot of sunlight on the floor. You could have a spot of dirt on your dress. But we don't use it in the sense of a small portion of a consumable food or beverage.
Yeah, we would never use it like that.
What would the American equivalent be?
Well, if you're talking about food, you would say grab a bite to eat. Want to grab a bite to eat with me real quick?
Yeah, and then if you're extending the invitation to someone, you'd say, would you like some tea? Some lunch?
If you're saying a spot of cream in your tea sort of thing, you might say dollop?
Yeah, a bit.
A bit? No, bit is definitely British.
Oh no, what's
I
become
really
of us?
don't think that we use bit in the States.
This is the trouble with being people that consume a lot of British culture and talk with a lot of British people, is that eventually we start forgetting which phrases are American and which phrases are British. We're forgetting the language. We're forgetting the language of our birth!
No, where has the American gone? I'm gutted.
British people use I'm gutted to mean I'm disappointed. It's like you've been cut open with a knife and your guts have come out, your hopes and dreams, you've been gutted.
If your guts come out, you're just like, well, that was disappointing. I'm gutted.
I want to know, does this come from drawing and quartering? Because I see there being kind of a correlation between saying I'm gutted and disappointed and getting drawn and quartered. If you know the history behind this phrase, do let me know. In the US, what would be the equivalent of gutted?
Maybe let down?
Let down? Disappointed?
Bummed. Maybe that one. Bummed.
Yeah, I'm so bummed.
To be in a mood. The context in which we've heard this is always kind of a negative one, so it's to be upset, to be in a bad mood.
If you catch me in the morning before I've had my cup of coffee, I'm gonna be in a mood.
Yes, he's always in a mood before he's had his CUPPA.
The American equivalent of to be in a mood would just be to be upset.
To be in a bad mood?
Yeah, to be in a bad mood, specifically. But the phrase to be in a mood, the way it's used in the UK, you would never hear an American say that. I never heard it before going to the UK. That's pants! What does that phrase mean in the UK?
I've heard this expression used to mean that's nonsense.
So if I was to say, you know, 5G is causing...
I would say absolute codswallop. That's pants.
If you're in America and you use the expression that's pants, everyone around you will be very confused because we don't say that. The American equivalent of that's pants depends on the context. So if I am sharing a conspiracy theory, like 5G, then you might say,
that's stupid. You're crazy. Take a hike, mate. No, I wouldn't say mate. We don't say that in America either. I would say that's crazy. And you're a conspiracy theorist. Go to hell.
Wow. But if you're using that's pants as in, you know, like, it's It's rubbish. It's not
That's
crazy.
nonsense. I would say you're speaking nonsense. That's definitely not American either.
What is that, cowboy? You're speaking nonsense.
You're speaking nonsense now, son. I mean, you could say that's stupid. That's horrible. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Oh, you just...
That's it. Ridiculous!
I think that a difference between the US and the UK that we've noticed is that in the UK, there's a lot of expressions that you use where you stick a noun in there and turn it into an expression, like that's pants. So pants is a noun, but now it's suddenly an adjective. Whereas in the US, we tend to use large, colorful adjectives instead. So instead of saying a small, like that's pants, we would say that's ridiculous, that's horrible, that's stupid. Yeah. So a heavy emphasis on actual adjectives in the US as opposed to more slang-ish
nouns, yeah.
Yes.
Nouns that have been transformed into adjectives.
Exactly. Question for you, are we using pants correctly here? Do we have an accurate understanding of what that word means? Let us know down in the comments.
To bin something. Something that I've heard Brits say is to bin something. Like, oh, the veg has gone off, bin it. So in the States, we might say throw it away, toss it.
Throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, throw it in the garbage.
It's trash.
But in the UK, you refer to a trash can as a bin. So you would say bin it.
Question for British friends. In the US, we do have an expression that's can it, which comes from like trash can, and we use it as an idiom to tell someone to shut up. So if someone's rambling on about, 5G, for example, can it, put a lid on it. So in the UK, are you able to use the expression bin it in the same way? Can you tell someone bin it as a way of telling them to shut up?
Or is it specifically for literally throwing things away? Oh, that's no good, bin it.
This spot of vegetables is pants, bin it.
That's totally wrong.
CUPPA.
This is not one that we use in America, and so going to the UK, we're unsure whether or not this refers to tea only or whether it can apply to coffee as well.
Can I have a cuppa of tea and a cuppa of coffee? If you know the answer to that, let us know down in the comments. And just so you know, the American equivalent of cuppa is a cup of. So we just make it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Can I get you a cup of tea? A cup of coffee?
Keen. To be keen on. To be not so keen on.
In the UK, keen just means excited or
Eager?
Yeah, or interested in a thing. So, for example, when Grace and I first became minimalists, which is why I only have one shirt, in case you didn't know, when she broached the topic to me and was like, hey, minimalism is kind of cool, I was keen on that idea. I like that idea. An example of something I'm not so keen on would be eggplant. I am not so keen on aubergines.
We don't use the word keen in the States.
No.
I don't think we ever do. I've never heard anyone use it. Like, we know what it means.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't use it in a sentence.
It's another one of those words where in the US, if you've heard it from either extremely old people or you've read it in very old books.
The American equivalent would be to like something.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea. I don't like aubergines. Aubergines.
Interested, excited, all of those words are American equivalents for the word keen in the UK. Going to hospital. In the UK, if you're gonna go to the hospital, well, there, I just gave it away what we say in the US.
Yeah.
You would say, I'm going to hospital. They don't stick an article before the word hospital. So instead of saying, I'm going to the hospital, like we would in the States, they just say, I'm going to hospital. And I'm not really sure why. I haven't read about this.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, I know in the UK, you don't say, I'm going to pub, I'm going to bank. So why is the article taken out of hospital specifically? If you know the answer to that, do let us know. In the United States, we do use the article, so we say, I'm going to the hospital, I'm going to the bank, I'm going to the shop. One of the only situations where we don't use the article would be town. I'm going to town, you would say.
Yeah. To go to town on something is like an expression.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's an idiom.
We're going to town.
Going to town on something means you're going all the way, going hardcore.
To give it both barrels.
Way up. An example of how this is used in the UK is saying something like, oh, I'm weighing up whether we should go to Scotland or Northern Ireland next month. So you're trying to make a decision, you're trying to decide. This is not something we say in the States. We don't use weigh up in that way. It's not a combination of words you would see in the States. What we use instead of saying way up would be trying to decide. I'm trying to decide whether or not I should go to Scotland or Northern Ireland next month.
I feel like weighing the options.
Yeah, weighing the options. But in that case, you don't say what the options are. If you asked me, where are you traveling next month? I might say, I'm weighing the options. And then if you said, what are the options? I would say, I'm trying to decide if we should go to Scotland or Northern Ireland. Weighing up. That's not one we use in the States, but I like it.
That's mental. We heard this one a lot in Harry Potter. I feel like Ron says this a lot. He's like, that's mental. So what this means is just, that's crazy. It's kind of an exclamation. Like, that's mental. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, if I told you I just won the lottery, maybe?
I might say, whoa, that's mental.
And that's kind
bloody
of
mental.
That's using it in a positive way. And then also if I told you, hey, did you know 5G is causing...
I'd be like, oh, he's bloody mental.
So what's the American equivalent?
I think it would just be, that's crazy, or wow. Kind of
Yeah.
like shocked.
Because in the States, crazy, you know, they both have to do with your brain, so crazy and mental. And then crazy, just like mental, can be used in a positive and a negative way. So if you tell me, I won the lottery, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy. Or if you tell me, 5G is causing
I would be like, he's batshit crazy.
And this is where we're gonna end this video. If you haven't already, watch part 1 right here so you can learn a few more expressions which British people use, which we do not use in America. And we have a fun announcement for you guys. If you're a regular, you watch a lot of our videos, or you've been with us for a while, we're gonna be doing our very first live stream here on this channel very soon. So as soon as we hit 10,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, the next Saturday, we are gonna be doing a live stream.
Exciting stuff!
Exciting stuff! So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time we release a new video, and get ready for our first live stream. We'll be answering questions, we'll be telling you more about ourselves, and really we just wanna celebrate hitting 10K with you guys and
We can all have a
interact.
cuppa together.
Yeah, we can have a cuppa or a pint or whatever it is you drink wherever you are.
Also, if you want access to behind the scenes footage, bloopers, outtakes, all that goodness, make sure that you head on over to our Patreon because that's where we're going to be sharing those clips. Link in the description below.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we will see you guys next time.
Bisous.